Hello, my name's Jonny Drury. Welcome to ShropshireStart.com. Today I'm joined by Shrewsbury correspondent Lewis Cox, who's preparing to head to Wycombe this evening as Salop look to climb the League One table. Lewis, Steve Cottrell's men have turned into something of the draw specialists in League One at the moment, so I'm sure a 3 points tonight at high-flying Wycombe certainly wouldn't go amiss.
Yeah. Hi, Johnny. I wrote yesterday, didn't I? It's how full's your glass? You draw and you stay unbeaten. One defeat in 9 as it is, or you draw and you don't win, and you're on a winless run, aren't you? So, I've written and I've said a few times, draws when you're down there or wherever don't see you rocket up the league, do they? So, only wins will suffice in that regard, and clearly they want to get away from where they are. If not 16th, then certainly 4 points above their rivals down there. So yeah, wins are needed clearly. Interestingly, as you say, ahead of Wycombe, a team in the playoffs fighting for promotion. Town have finished a run of games against teams around them. So the sort of it switches a bit, doesn't it? It switches from playing against rivals around us who you'd fancy Town to want to beat, to take points off, to climb away from. The sort of mentality switches to we're playing one of the division's better, more fancied sides. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because I think, and our columnist Dave Edwards has written today as well, hasn't he, in the paper and online, that suits Town. That seems to have probably always suited Town, or certainly from recent memory. So might it suit them going to Wycombe and going to Plymouth at the weekend? Possibly, but yeah. They don't want to be. They don't want the draw tag, do they? Because as I touched on, it doesn't get you anywhere fast, and they obviously want to climb away from where they are. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, since we spoke last time, sort of new signings have come in. Are we expecting to see? I know there was sort of the two from deadline day were on the sort of sidelines for Saturday. Are we expecting to see any of them this evening?
If I was a betting man, then I think so. I think Tom Flanagan, the centre half from Sunderland. I was a little surprised he didn't make his debut on Saturday, I have to say. But I'd be, more surprised if he didn't make his debut tonight. Steve Cottrell's talked, obviously, about bedding them in, getting them sort of in tune with how Town play. I totally understand that. Clearly teams play very differently, and you want to learn, partnerships with your colleagues, maybe in training before you're chucked in. And Tom Flanagan, the centre half I mentioned, is a very different prospect to left wing back Matty Bondswell, isn't he? In Bondswell, you've got a teenager who's never played senior football, certainly in England. So different examples. I suspect, obviously, we were a little surprised the other day against Fleetwood at the Meadow when Luke Lee was moved out to the left wing back role, and Tyrese Forner carried on in midfield. I suspect we'll see Flanagan come into a back three, moving George Nurse out to left wing back, and see Lee continue in central midfield. Obviously, we've carried a piece today, haven't we, with Lee talking about his midfield role, and I just think with a half-time change Steve Cottrell made the other day, Saturday, that switched the game in his side's favour. It did entail Lee going into the middle. I know it was a formation switch to a 4-3-3, but Lee in that midfield role, and yeah, I look forward to seeing Nurse playing at left wing back, and obviously the inclusion of Flanagan. As Dave Edwards has written today, I don't think Tom Flanagan's come here from Sunderland to be a squad player, to be on the bench. I think he'll be involved. I think by all accounts he's a big centre half, possibly needed to defend in the box tonight. And as I say, I look forward to seeing Nurse at left wing back, something a bit different. He's got attacking capabilities, so I think that's what I see as the most sensible and likely solution to having these players. I think you want to keep Luke Lee in midfield now. I do. I think he's sort of reinvented himself into that role. Obviously keen to see how George Nurse can do from a more attacking point of view. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing Flanagan. He, from everyone you speak to about him, from the Sunderland end and others, he's allegedly quite a smooth centre half in terms of his sort of being comfortable on the ball, in possession, quite mobile. Certainly not slow or sluggish defender. So yeah, look forward to seeing what he's about. And I think it could be a while before we see Matty Bondswell. Might be wrong with that, but as I say, a young player being thrown in, we'll see.
And how's the rest of the sort of side looking? Are we expecting any changes from Saturday?
Yeah, well, I think they're okay injury-wise, fitness-wise, unless there are any surprises. interesting one will be Jana, won't it? Sekou Jana, who was the halftime sub on Saturday and arrived on the left of the front three as Town went 4-3-3 away from the usual shape. And bear with me, John. Hold on. I've had a call, mate.
It's all right, mate. Don't worry. Take the call. I can always edit it back in.
Hold on. And send a voicemail. There we go. Sorry, mate. What?
So wait there. I'll just ask that question again, and then we'll just go from that question.
Ended it, or
what's that?
Did that show up on your screen?
No, yeah, it just went to like your name. It just said LC in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'll ask that last question.
Fucking agent of a Town player calling me. Fuck's sake.
What was it?
Yeah. Ask that again. Yeah.
Yeah,
what was it?
So,
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. From Saturday, can we expect any more changes going into this evening?
Well, I'm not sure fitness and injury wise. I don't think there are any issues unless there are any surprises. But I think Sekou Jana's the interesting one, isn't he? Obviously, the Bristol City loan signing. He was introduced as a halftime sub on the left of the front three as Town went 4-3-3, and he had a really good second half. Really bright, really direct, dynamic, pacey. Was involved in a penalty that Daniel Udo won shortly after half time. Was involved. I think, like Lee, we mentioned in moving into midfield, was involved in a lot. Town did well second half on Saturday, and they were certainly the better side second half. Prior to that, I haven't seen Jana as a regular starter by any account, really. Certainly got that speed to be an impact player from the bench. Does he get brought in tonight on a tough away game on a Tuesday night? I'd be surprised. You could argue he merits it from how well he did the other day, but I do struggle to see Udo or Bowman coming out the side tonight being, not dropped, even rested. We're at home game, I'd possibly see it more likely. Obviously they've played a lot of football, haven't they? A lot of trust in them. They've gone game after game, the front two. I don't necessarily think they've done badly of late. Obviously Ryan Bowman's gone a little while without a goal, but they're toiling away up front, working as hard as ever. As I say, tricky away game at one of the better sides in the division on a Tuesday night. Do I see him changing the front two? Not particularly. So beyond that, I think it's as you were, as I mentioned earlier, regarding Nurse and Flanagan on the left and at centre half. But yeah, I'd probably say as you were. Otherwise, it'd be a surprise.
Yeah, and just finally, Wycombe are a good side, but Salop have drawn sort of the last 3. I think they've drawn 4 in 6. Would Steve Cottrell take another point tonight, or does he want to sort of not stop the rot, but just stop that run of draws, really?
In isolation, a point is a good point tonight, isn't it? I think, it is a bit of a cliche, but there's an argument to say any point on the road's decent, isn't it, in the division? But I think, against 6th place Wycombe tonight, it's a good point. I was having a look just before we came on air, actually, Johnny, and Town's record at Adams Park is it's pretty forgettable, to be honest. They've had 13 trips there in the league. Obviously only since 1990 odd when Wycombe pushed up the divisions, and Town haven't won. Town have not won there in the league, so that's a bit of a damning statistic going ahead to tonight. So yeah, sorry about that, but obviously they have famously won there in the old JPT 7-0. Grant Holt with 5 of them. Memorable night that I know, 2007 I believe. So there is one big win there, but they have been very hard to come by in the league. It has to be said, really hard to come by. So that would, it'd be booking the trend, wouldn't it, to go there and get 3 points tonight. Wycombe strong at home all season. Good record there. I think they've only lost 3 in front of their own fans. We know all about Town's away record, don't we? It's 1 league win in 15. That was obviously Boxing Day at Fleetwood, and that it's been a big issue for them all season, hasn't it? It's put a lot more pressure on their home results. If you're a bookie, a betting man, everything points to a home win tonight, doesn't it? But obviously it doesn't work like that. Yeah, Town out to win a first league game in 6 ultimately. Been, as you say, 5, a lot of draws, 4 draws and 1 defeat. So 5 without a win. They need to book that trend and start getting the results. These are tricky though, aren't they? They've had some kind of fixtures of late. You look at the league table, teams below them, around them, haven't been able to get the wins they've sort of craved from those. So now it's, as I say earlier, it's flipped. Can they go and do it at a tougher side like a Wycombe, like a Plymouth on Saturday, who've had a great FA Cup adventure? Wycombe have lost 2 on the spin, worth mentioning. They haven't played for 10 10 days. I think their game the weekend was off because of FA Cup commitments of rivals. So not in the best form, Wycombe. Had a little break. Will they be caught cold tonight? Potentially. As I say, they've lost 2 on the bounce. One was against Morecambe, I believe, and MK Dons. So, not the best form for Gareth Ainsworth's side. Maybe adds a little bit of interesting spin on it. But again, they'll be wanting to get back to winning ways, won't they? They're still in a great position of 6th. And I looked yesterday that the top of the league between 6th and I think 3rd or 2nd is so tight. If they get the win tonight and results go their way, you're looking back at the automatic places again. So big game for both sides, I think, at the opposite ends of the table. And as you say, Town, they just, where they want to climb to where they want to get to, it's only going to take wins, isn't it? And a draw in isolation is a good result, and I'm sure they wouldn't turn their nose up at that tonight at 7:45. But as they say, it's only wins that will hopefully lift sort of Town out of the mire and away from that little cluster of clubs who are 3 points or 4 points clear of the drop zone.
There you go. Hopefully Shrewsbury can break their sort of Adams Park Wycombe hoodoo tonight on the road. And for the rest of your build up to the game, go to shropshirestart.com.